Hello, so yesterday I showed you my first ever Kraken Unleashed medal in World of Warships. Today I'm going to show you my second Kraken Unleashed medal. This time I'm in my Minakaze, the Tier 5 Japanese destroyer, and a ship that I've been doing very well in lately. So you see here we are on Straits, and I'm heading straight into the sea capture point to try and capture it. Being one of the stealthiest destroyers in the game, it is kind of my responsibility. But unfortunately we spot an enemy Minakaze. I see there's a bit of a replay bug here where for some reason every time I see this Minakaze and switch into sniper view, it disappears for a few seconds and then kind of reappears. But anyway, myself and that Minakaze reacted differently in that situation. I immediately went to my guns, fired a broadside at it, did about 1,000 damage. Well, it fired its torpedoes at me first and completely and utterly missed, and it's fired its torpedoes again, it looks like. But I'm able to bring my guns to bear and fire a second broadside into it. So, do I get any hits? Yep, another 1,300 damage. So I've definitely won this engagement so far. However, with the enemy team pushing up so aggressively, well, it's cruiser support, I don't really feel I'm in a position to capture the enemy base. So instead I go out of the cap circle, decide to fire some torpedoes at this Phoenix. Well, the second Phoenix. I know it's locked onto the first one, but I'm firing my torpedoes at the second one, which is slightly closer. And then I swing my ship around to try and just screen my allies and do what work I can. But I wasn't feeling very optimistic at this point. Those two cruisers and the Minakaze I thought were going to block me from getting into the enemy battleship. But those torpedoes actually look to be doing pretty well so far. Of course it's a Phoenix, it doesn't take long for it to change its course. If it changes its course... Oh, there it goes, turns away but much too late. Takes 2 hits, and that's my first kill. It's also the first kill my team's managed so far. Unfortunately we've lost 4 ships by this point, so we are behind quite badly. And with that Phoenix gone, I now feel there's a slight opportunity to get a torpedo strike off on this Wyoming here. I just need to clear this island, swing my boat around, and I've just got a shot, but I've been spotted. I ignore that for now, just get my broadside and my torpedoes off. And it was that Minakaze from earlier that's spotting me. Luckily my guns are pointing in vaguely the right direction, so maybe get another broadside off, do a little bit of damage, and then I'm assuming it's fired torpedoes at me based on the way this Minakaze has been playing, so I turn away, hoping to dodge its torpedoes and put my smoke up, because I'm also getting fired at by that enemy cruiser off to the north here, and... oh! 3 hits, 4 hits, and I sunk that battleship, which is my team's second kill. By this point we've lost 6 of our ships though, and no one else on my team's killed anything. So we are losing quite badly. It's a, what is this, a 6-on-10 fight? Not exactly something you want to be in. But anyway, here there are enemy cruisers pushing strongly in the centre, and I decide, well, 2 things. Firstly, we're almost losing on points. We've only got 70 points left, and if we lose another ship without gaining any points, we're out of the game. So I'm basically feeling I've got to go in and grab the sea point. And also with those cruisers to the north of me, the only place I can really go is into the sea point anyway. Well, only way where I can go and still engage the enemy. And I've kind of got a feel for how this Minakaze plays, and I believe that in a close range fight I can actually beat this one without too much struggle. It relies too much on its torpedoes. And well, since it doesn't use its guns, I'm going to win a gunfight, and because I know it's going to be firing torpedoes at me, I know to dodge them. So broadside off. Now, it looks like those don't hit anywhere near it, but of course disappearing ship syndrome. Do a fair bit of damage. Have to turn to dodge the island here, but that island would have also blocked it from firing torpedoes at me. And I'm getting long range fire from the Phoenix. I just scrape across the island, but so far I haven't taken any damage. The Minakaze comes around the island again, and I fire another broadside at it. And that time I do actually hit an invisible ship. It's almost dead, and I'm assuming it's fired torpedoes at me just based on the way it's turning. Either that or it's about to fire torpedoes at me, so I start turning into them, turning into the ship, fire another broadside, and I start a fire, and the fire kills it, and as I suspected, it had fired torpedoes. But my turn meant that I was easily able to avoid them. And well, things have actually evened up a bit. We're up to 120 points now. I'm going to capture C, which will start gaining us some points. but well, there are 5 ships left on my team and 7 left on the enemy team, so it's slightly better odds than it was earlier, but we are still well behind, and losing, well, a major ship at the moment would probably ruin the game for us. It would be basically game over at this point. So I've captured C. There's an enemy Kolberg class cruiser moving down into here, but it's been fired on by all of our team. I switched to guns thinking my torpedoes aren't going to reach in time, but it turns out I don't even get within gun range in time. And just as that happens, and we gain a few points, an enemy destroyer pops up and sinks our aircraft carrier, so it was kind of lucky that we sunk that Kolberg when we did. And this time I decided not to go and fight that destroyer. Basically, I don't think I'm going to arrive there in time to save that battleship, and even if I do, I don't want to get in a close range fight with an Iziaslav since I'm in a Minakaze. It turns out I'm wrong. That Congo over there is actually a really good player and has an awesome game, managed to survive this encounter, which helps out our team immensely. Instead, I decided to head up to the B capture point and try and grab that so we can start gaining even more points and hopefully find the rest of the enemy team. We've spotted 2 enemy battleships pushing straight down the centre, and one of them's a Congo. Now the Congos are quite fast ships, so I fire my torpedoes at it way too early, just because on this kind of course where we're heading towards each other, basically, well, our closing speed's probably around 70 knots, and it doesn't take very long at all to actually for it to spot me, and I really don't want to get spotted at this point. So I fire off my torpedoes, turn away, go down to about 6.3 kilometers, so I'm just outside the detection range, and of course that's when enemy carrier aircraft come flying past me, and they spot me. I think I got a bit lucky there though, in that the cruisers behind me were spotted first, so no one really shoots at me. I do actually manage to shoot down one of the enemy aircraft. And 1, 2, 3, 4 hits on that Congo. Do a lot of damage and I get my high caliber medal. And now, I'll have to just explain what I'm doing here. I see that the Congo is going to take 1 or 2 torpedo hits to sink it. So I decided to fire 4 torpedoes at the Phoenix and 2 torpedoes at the Congo, basically hoping to kill both of them in a single broadside. And I'll just pull back behind this St. Louis here because they're getting way too close to me and they are spotting me. Fortunately, they're still not shooting at me, they're shooting at the St. Louis. It's not a bad decision. St. Louis is easy to kill and has high DPM, but I'm probably the more dangerous ship here. Get 1 hit on the Phoenix, which is enough to kill it, but the Congo avoids my torpedoes. I have another broadside loaded though, and I kind of fire them all off at where the Congo's expected to be, and for some reason I just don't notice that it's actually turning into me, so all those torpedoes miss quite badly, and I could have easily, well, at least got them closer to the target. Decide to fire my guns, get 3 hits, do no damage. It looks like most of them hit on the front of its turrets, which is probably the thickest armour on that ship, or at least one of the thickest parts of armour on that ship. So not surprisingly, did no damage. And I decided to close in with the Congo and try and secure the kill here. The torpedoes aren't quite reloaded, and I'm coming under secondary fire from the Congo, so this isn't a great place to be. I'm gonna, well, essentially, those secondary guns are going to kill me eventually. Fire off 2 torpedoes, but turns out the Congo actually died even before I fired them. And this is the point where I realised that we have actually turned this game right around. There's now 4 ships left on my team and only 2 on the enemy team. And the enemy aircraft carriers right in front of me. I fire away with my guns, get 2 hits, start a fire, which is what you want to do when you're engaging a carrier. I'm just going to keep engaging it with my guns until I'm very close, and I will torpedo it to death. And it's getting, well, that Congo from earlier just got its 5th kill, so it's won the Kraken Unleashed medal. And the last ship running on the enemy team is this Wyoming class battleship over here. And I'm finally capturing the B point. We are still well behind on points just because it took us so long to capture the enemy capture the bases. And the enemy, well, it held 3 bases at one point, but it's held A and B for the vast majority of the game. but with only one enemy ship left, it should be fairly easy. Unfortunately for me, the enemy aircraft from the Hosho are actually just circling around where it sunk, which means they're going to keep spotting me, so I can't really launch a stealth attack on this Wyoming. But it actually seems to just completely ignore me and instead engage the battleships well off to my left. Almost shoot down another aircraft. It's not really often you shoot down aircraft in the Minakaze, so I appreciate everyone. Fire off my torpedo broadside and try and pull back behind this island to get a bit of cover, but I realize it's just not going to happen, so I just pull back and minimise my profile for a little bit. But well, he's just ignoring me. I'm not spotted anymore, so I'll just go parallel to it, and I'm spotted again. And well, it is. Oh no, fires away at me, but my torpedoes are looking good. And one hit, the Confederate medal. 3 hits, the Kraken unleashed, another devastating strike, and well, 5 kills. So, High Caliber, Confederate, Kraken unleashed, 4 devastating strikes, 5 kills, shot down 2 aircraft, 23 gun hits, 14 torpedo hits, and 2 base captures. So it was a pretty good game there. And you see the 2,666 base experience. As I said, that Congo, which had an awesome game, also got 5 kills, 3 aircraft, and about 1,600 experience. You see here, what's that? I did 150,000 damage in a tier 5 destroyer. So all in all, that was a pretty good game, and I'm feeling pretty happy with it, with the result here. But it's kind of interesting to see that both the games I've won the Kraken Unleashed in have been games where my team sucked so badly at the start, and where it was a massive come from behind victory, and I've just had to do so much damage and just to pull it off. So I feel like Krakens Unleashed are actually quite an achievement, even more so than, say, the Ace medal in World of Warships, World of Warplanes, or even the oh, I've forgotten what it's called. The World of Tanks equivalent, I feel, are much easier to get than the Kraken Unleashed in World of Warships. Anyway, let me know what you think, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.